Hey yo, football fans, it's another great year. Fantasy football fiends, grab your beer. Giving you the best draft tips for your picks. Starts and sits to the waiver wire fix. From my drafts galore to stats that's hardcore. Triple F does it all, have y'all screaming more. So sit back, relax, let the experts prevail. JT Magnum, Siggy Guns never fail. What's up, fantasy football fans? My name is JT Magnum here along with Siggy Guns, and welcome to, what are we, week 10? Yeah, week 10 of your fantasy football season. And quick announcements this week coming up. Next Tuesday, Wednesday, I will put the fantasy video. Well, actually, what is next week? It's the 18th. That video will be up, but the following week after that, I might not be able to either put up a video with us on it. Either Siggy might do the video by himself, or I'll put it up because I'll be on vacation for Thanksgiving in Florida. So what I'll do is I'll either put up a video with Siggy and I's picks on it, and no, you won't see us. There'll be no webcam. There'll be no talking. It'll just be video with all our picks and just basically showing you our starts and sits. It'd be probably a quick video, obviously easy for you guys to look at, or Siggy will do it himself and he'll give you his picks. Either or, you're going to get a video. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. So, and also for future reference, I'm still debating whether or not this channel is going to be getting more videos on it in the future after this fantasy football season. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work making videos. It's a lot of time, a lot of effort, and I don't have it. I don't have a lot of time on my hands to be doing that. I have a family and a lot of things, so I'm debating in my mind whether or not I'm going to continue this channel on to next year, but that announcement will come later. Obviously, I'm going to close out this fantasy football season and do everything else and see how it goes from there and how I manage time. So moving on, we're in week 10, and the injury report, actually the bye teams first. The bye week this week are the 49ers, the Colts, the Chargers, and the Falcons. That's a lot of good high-priced fantasy players. Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, and Andrew Luck, who's hurt. Phillip Rivers out. A lot of people hurt in this one. So you got a lot of waiver wire movement, or a lot of bench players are going to be in this week. And the injury report this week, let's get into that. Ben Roethlisberger's down 2 to 6 weeks, I believe. With a
No, that was Andrew Luck, 2 to 6.
Oh yeah,
actually,
Andrew Luck.
I think
he's 2 to 6 as well.
Probably. I think they said 2 to 4, and they think it would just be the 2.
Well, let's see. But what happened to him? He messed up his foot.
His foot.
Sprained
it
his
looked
foot,
like in the replay, it looked like a twisted ankle, like a sprained ankle
I think
sprain,
he
but
sprained
it
his
not being the
foot
high one
or something like that. But anyways, he's out. Dion Lewis is done for the year, torn ACL, I believe. Yep. Teddy Bridgewater had a concussion, but from what I've seen, he's looking good. Like, his concussion protocol is going well, so he actually might play this week. But monitor that. Andrew Luck is out, like we just said, 2 to 6 weeks. He has a lacerated kidney. I don't even know how you get a lacerated kidney, but he has a lacerated kidney. I think it's because he had broken ribs and somehow I don't know. I can't figure it out. But and Alan Hearns, he has a sprained foot. Monitor him. He might still play. So that's all the injuries I can think of off my head right now. I know LaShawn McCoy was a bit banged up in that game as well in the last game, but he looks like he's going to play against the Jets. You might want to monitor him and insert Carlos Williams if you have him, or insert somebody else in case he all of a sudden is a late scratch. But that's the only guys I can think of. So moving on, let's get into Rewind. My picks from last week. My good start of the week last week was Derek Carr, 26.34 points. My bad start of the week was Ronnie Hillman with 0.10 points. Sorry about that, folks. And my sits of the week, my good one was Jordan Cameron. He had 0.60 points. And it always seems like every week my bad one has to be the worst one of all. D'Angelo Williams, I had him sat last week, 36.50 points.
Sit him?
I know. I take risks. This is what I do. I'm a risk taker. But anyways,
that was a lot.
Hey, if I was 100% right in fantasy football, I'd be a rich man. I wouldn't even be doing these YouTube videos. I'd be sitting at home counting my money. But
If anybody was 100% correct, they'd be doing that. But yeah, it always seems like my bad sits are the worst ones every week. But moving on, let's get into Adam and Bagum. Who's your first or who's your only ad? Or you have two this week?
I have two, actually, and they're both for the Patriots. A lot of names are being thrown out there. The ad, in my opinion, is going to be James White, and the bag is going to be Brandon Bolden. I think White's already proven that he can fill that Dion Lewis role, not necessarily be a Dion Lewis, but fill the role. And I think if you have both of them, I just think, obviously, that means one of them is going to be sitting out because Blunt's going to be getting his share. And I think Bolden's going to be that odd man out, to be honest. I think James White is going to be the person they trust more. He didn't play last year because he was hurt, so that's the reason why a lot of people think Bolden's going to be the guy. But, they didn't get to see White, so I think it's going to be White.
That's what I think as well. But for my guy, if you're lacking in the tight end department and you're looking for a nice little breakout tight end, I have Garrett Selleck for you now. Vernon Davis was traded from the 49ers along with Derek Carrier, leaving Garrett Selleck and Vance McDonald. And Vance McDonald has brick hands. I don't know if you've seen him. He drops almost every pass that's thrown his way. Garrett Selleck does not. He had 2 touchdowns last week, so I say Adam. If you need a tight end, Adam. Now that Blaine Gabbert is playing right now for the 49ers, he loves to throw to tight ends. He seems to does perfectly in that offense when it comes to throwing to tight ends, and you've seen it show this past weekend with Garrett Selleck catching 2 of them. So I say Adam if you need a tight end. All right, waiver wire picks. Who's your 3 waiver wire picks of the week?
Well, I have James White, Carlos Williams, and Stevie Johnson. I did want to talk about Stevie Johnson, but I'm going to go ahead and change that to Starks now. Starks was also a hot name. We did have him, I think, before, but I called it, and now it looks like it's going to happen. I think this happened today or yesterday, last night. They announced that Starks is going to be the starting running back now for the Packers. So, yes, Eddie Lacy was benched, and we don't know what the splits are going to be, but probably the biggest name right now that you can get a hold of, because I think he's available in like 65% across all fantasy platforms, is Starks. Get James Starks in your lineup now.
Yeah, I have Dorial Green-Beckham, Carlos Williams, and James White. A lot of people dropped Carlos Williams after he got injured and he was out for a while, so a lot of people are probably picking him back up. And I'll talk about Dorial Green-Beckham, though. Here's a guy that was coming out of college looking like he was going to be a superstar. He had the big name, had the bat, had the really good combine workout, and just hadn't gotten on the field due to the coach. Now the coach has gotten fired. As soon as he gets fired, he gets put into the game, it seems like, and now he's getting targets. I know Kendall Wright is down injured as well, so that probably helped his cause. But he obviously had a really good game last week, and I think sky's the limit for him. So if you have a chance to pick him up while you can, because here's another rising star that people don't know about at the moment. Let's get into the quarterback or the starts of the week. Who's your 3 quarterbacks?
Kirk Cousins, Andy Dalton, and Blake Bortles. And I'll go and talk about Cousins. He's playing the Saints. The Saints have been giving up touchdown passes to everybody, it seems, the last few weeks. And I had him as my sleeper in my FanDuel, but I forgot to put the article out there. But Mariota torched them, and Cousins is somebody that actually throws all the time. I don't know if you notice, he always seems to be getting 300 yards, just doesn't get any touchdowns.
Because they're always
behind.
But now
here's a situation where you know he's going to get his 300 yards, but now the difference is this team gives up touchdowns, so he should have a 303 touchdown kind of game. And you just got to ride this gift that the Saints are putting out there for fantasy people. So Cousins is going to be the start of the week.
Yeah, my 3 starts are Kirk Cousins as well, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Matthew Stafford. A lot of people giving up on Stafford. He's been horrible for fantasy this year. I think he has like a couple good weeks and like mediocre weeks pretty much for the rest of the year, or bad ones. But they're playing Green Bay. Green Bay has given up so many pass yards. Their secondary has been banged up. They're fighting on defense. They're just giving up so much yardage. And I think right now is the right time for Detroit to come to Green Bay and be able to toss the ball around the field, especially when Detroit's defense is not as good at either. You're going to see kind of like a passing shootout between Rodgers and Stafford in this one. So I
just don't trust that line, though.
Oh, yeah. That's why he has to get rid of it and throw it up. I think it's going to be a lot of throwing up balls for Calvin Johnson this week. Who's your running back starts?
D'Angelo Williams, James Starks, and Mark Ingram. And I'm going to talk about Williams. He's playing the Browns, and obviously everybody that's played the Browns gets 100 and a touchdown easily. And now that you have Ben Roethlisberger hurt, and you saw what D'Angelo Williams was doing last week, he's going to be somebody that they're going to be just shoving out there. I predict at least 30 carries, at least almost 190 yards, and at least 2 scores, because the Browns defense is pretty bad all around. So huge game for Williams on tap.
Yeah, my 3 running backs are D'Angelo Williams as well, DeMarco Murray, and James Starks versus Detroit. And we'll talk about Murray. He had a pretty good game last week. Finally a decent game against the Cowboys. And now we're going to Miami. Miami has been horrendous against the run. Gave up 2 100-yard rushing performances to LaShawn McCoy and Carlos Williams last week. And here comes Murray and Ryan Matthews. And I think Murray is obviously starting to get the bulk of the carries now. He's getting the most touches. So look for Murray to go off against the Dolphins. Who's your 3 wide receivers?
Julian Edelman, Deshaun Jackson, and Allen Robinson. I'm going to talk about Deshaun Jackson. The Saints, like I said, they're giving up everything. And then on top of that, you have Deshaun Jackson, who did nothing last week and then complained about it, that he wasn't getting the ball. Normally when that happens, the very next week they say, okay, here you go, shut up about it. And what a perfect team to do it up against the Saints that give up everything. So I can see Deshaun Jackson having a great game.
Yeah, my 3 are Deshaun Jackson as well, Allen Robinson, and Eric Decker. And I'll talk about Robinson. With Allen Hurns possibly out, actually, I'm just going to put it this way. The Ravens suck against the pass. They're just absolutely horrible. I would start Robinson, period. There's nobody in the Ravens that can cover him, and Blake Bortles and him and Hurns were on record pace with like 600 yards receiving and 6 touchdowns each, which has been hasn't been done by any wide receiver combo. So there you go right there. And with a horrible Baltimore secondary, there you go. Start them. Who's your tight ends?
Jordan Reed, Tyler Eifert, and Ben Watson. I'm going to talk about Eifert. It's a Monday night game. Houston, I know that their defensive stats seem to be a little bit better, but they still get torched. And in Cincinnati, you already saw what happened with Eifert against Cleveland last week. What was he? 3 touchdowns that day, or 2, 3? I forgot what it was, but he had a lot of points. I think you're going to see another game that has the potential to be a shootout. And obviously, Dalton loves throwing, especially around the red zone, to Eifert now, and there's plenty of opportunities for him to score again, at least 1 or 2. I think he's going to be a great play.
Yeah, my tight ends as well are Jordan Reed as well, Jermaine Gresham at Seattle, and Ben Watson. And let's talk about Jermaine Gresham, because nobody's talking about him. Nobody even knows that he's on the Arizona Cardinals, first of all. And Seattle has been horrible against tight ends all year long. They used to be amazing against them. For some reason now, I don't know, it seems like ever since that Antonio Gates game last year where he killed them for like 3 touchdowns, they've just been giving up all kinds of yardage and touchdowns to tight ends. So incoming with Michael Floyd, Larry Fitzgerald on the outside, and then you're going to have Jermaine Gresham in the middle. There's, the Seattle likes to take away their wide receivers, but they're not able to take away the tight ends. So I think Jermaine Gresham is going to actually have a big game this week. Who's your defenses?
Defenses, I have Green Bay, St. Louis, and Tennessee. Green Bay, in my opinion, is the no-brainer of the week. Detroit has been looking awful. I know you were talking about, trying to give some hope to Matthew Stafford and them, but the truth is that offensive line is just horrible. And if you're going to have them putting constant pressure, the accuracy is not going to be there. So if he does try to chuck it up to Megatron, it's just going to get picked off. And obviously that means more points for the Green Bay defense. I have Green Bay as my top pick of the week for defenses.
Yeah, I have the Raiders against Minnesota, Panthers at Tennessee, and Cardinals at Seattle. And I'll talk about the Cardinals. Seattle has no offensive line, and the Cardinals love to blitz. They attack, and I think Russell Wilson's going to have a big-time struggle, especially not being able to run the ball with Marshawn Lynch, because Arizona's really good against the run as well. And I think Seattle's offensive line is going to struggle in this one against that kind of a team that just attacks constantly. And I think they're going to force some mistakes. I think Arizona's actually going to win this game by a lot more than people think. I think it's not going to be close as people think this week. So let's get into the sits. Who's your quarterback sits of the week?
Russell Wilson, Derek Carr, and Jay Cutler. And I'll go ahead and add to that. I agree. The Cardinals are coming off a bye week also, so that means they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this team. Obviously, I'm assuming whenever at the beginning of the year they had this game circled as, hey, this is probably the benchmark to see where we're really at. But Seattle has not played well. It could be a bunch of combinations, whether it's offensive line, whether it's, the running game because Marshawn Lynch has been hurt, etc. But bottom line is Seattle doesn't look, anything like the Super Bowl team that they've been these last few years. So add to the fact that Cardinals are coming off a bye week, prepared, a bad offensive line, Russell Wilson, running game is kind of weak right now, and just all around looks pretty bad for Seattle. The only thing they have going for them in this game is that they're at home. And obviously we've seen what home teams do. Normally they play a little bit better, but I think the Cardinals are going to be well prepared for this game, and Russell Wilson's not going to have a good day.
Yeah, I also have Marcus Mariota, Jay Cutler, and Russell Wilson. And I'll talk about Jay Cutler going against St. Louis in St. Louis. If this game was in Chicago, I'd probably not sit Jay Cutler. But being that it's in St. Louis, they play faster on that turf. They seem to get to the quarterback fast. The offensive line for Chicago is not that great. They're going to have to run the ball. St. Louis is pretty good against the run. They had a hard time with Adrian Peterson last week, but it's Adrian Peterson. Jeremy Langford is not Adrian Peterson. I'm sorry. He's a promising good rookie running back. He looked good.
He looked real good, though.
But he's still, like I said, not Adrian Peterson. So St. Louis is going to be gearing up for this one. And they're also, St. Louis is very good against the pass. So, being that Chicago has Alshon Jeffrey and not really anybody else, St. Louis is also good against tight ends. So I like their chances. I don't like Jay Cutler's chances against St. Louis in this one. Who's your running back sits?
I will say this. Langford showed a lot of catching abilities they haven't really exploited yet. I think this is the perfect game against St. Louis. That's the only way we're going to beat him with screens, and I bet you that's what's going to happen this week.
Probably.
My three running back sets is LaShawn McCoy, Rashad Jennings, and Marshawn Lynch. Now I'm going to talk about McCoy. All indications point that he should play, but even if he plays, it's against the Jets, which the Jets do not give a lot of big games or really much of anything on the ground. If there's the only person I'm worried about more would be Carlos Williams, because he has more of a dynamic. It used to be just LaShawn McCoy that had this dynamic, but now he's become one-dimensional. He's not the same, and I think if you try to make him the old LaShawn McCoy, it'll be exploited, especially with the Jets defense. So I think that they're probably going to rely more heavy on Williams to try to carry the load, and in that situation, that's another reason why you shouldn't start McCoy, because with fewer touches, especially around the goal line, that he's not worth much. So bench him.
Yeah, my 3 running backs, same thing pretty much. LaShawn McCoy, Lamar Miller, and Marshawn Lynch. And I'll talk about Lamar Miller. This guy's been hot. I mean, he's been catching balls, running for a lot of yards, getting a lot of touchdowns. But Philadelphia has only allowed 3 running touchdowns this whole year. And despite them looking like they're not that great on defense, they actually have been pretty good on defense. So, especially against the run. So their problem lies in the passing game. So look for Lamar Miller not to have the best of games this week. Look for the wide receivers of Philly or of Miami to have the better games this week. Who's your wide receiver sits of the week?
Jeremy Maclin, Larry Fitzgerald, and Alshon Jeffries. And I'll talk about Maclin. Denver's defense is actually the real deal. Now, I do know that what's-his-name got hurt. DeMarcus Ware, I think he's hurt. So there's a little bit of hope for Alex Smith. But this is somebody that historically, it's obviously well-documented. You as a 49er fan know he doesn't really throw to his receivers much. And when he does, it seems to be at the worst opportune time. Given that it's the Denver's defense, given that they technically shut down what's-his-face until the end of the game, it seemed.
Maclin?
Andrew Luck.
Oh, Luck.
No, I'm talking about the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That Macklin is going to be somebody that's going to be in the background. So I think Kelsey would get more of the targets, but either way, against this defense, I wouldn't trust anybody on offense on the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, my wide receiver sits are Larry Fitzgerald. You're going to be shocked at this one, but Odell Beckham Jr. and Alshon Jeffrey. I would never tell you to normally sit Odell Beckham Jr., and you do not have to sit him. He's your stud. Always play your studs. But I'm saying he's not going to have his stud-like game this week against New England. The reason why, Bill Belichick always tries to take all your best player. He is the person that always jumpstarts that offense. He is the person that they look to get the more involved at the beginning because they're trying to get that guy involved so that the offense gets moving. And when you have a player like that, Bill Belichick will take him out of the game. Look for them to double, triple team him, frustrate him, and try to get him out of his game and make Reuben Randall, make Larry Donnell, Rashad Jennings, those kind of guys. Those will be the guys that have to beat you. And when you got those kind of guys beating you, that plays into New England's favor, and that's what makes Bill Belichick such a great coach because that's what he does. So I just don't like Odell Beckham Jr. this game going against that kind of defense and the kind of defense that they like to play. And they've been playing great defense this year.
I don't know. I got a feeling that it's going to be a shootout.
We'll see. Who's your tight end sits?
Travis Kelce, Greg Olsen, and Martellus Bennett. And Olsen is going to be the name I talk about because he's a big name. Tennessee plays very well at home, and Tennessee actually has a very good defense against the pass. I have a feeling, I know a lot of people are probably going to laugh at this, I just think that Tennessee is going to play this game and shock everybody and have the Panthers not be undefeated anymore. It's just every time I doubt the Titans at their place, it seems like the Titans play even better. Yeah. And it's the same situation here. I said it on a couple of my tweets. The Panthers are a home field advantage team, in my opinion. They're kind of like what the Saints always were, where Drew Brees would play great at home, and then he goes outside, and it seems like he's just shell-shocked and he doesn't know how to play, with the elements or the weather. I see the same thing with this Panthers defense. The defense plays great at home, and then on the road, they just disappear. And then actually, even at home, they disappeared in the fourth quarter. These last two games, luckily they were ahead by so much that they just let it it goes unnoticed. But Mariota back, Tennessee at home. I just have a feeling the Titans are going to shock them. I think this is one of those games. It's like a trap game where they fall asleep. Oh, it's just the Titans. Don't worry about them. It's a rookie quarterback. And they're going to be shocked by this defense that actually can play good. And then they're going to be shocked when they're behind. I got a feeling this is going to be a very entertaining game. And I think Panthers are going to be in for a shock.
Yeah, my tight ends are Jimmy Graham, Travis Kelce, and Delaney Walker. And I'll talk about Kelce. The Broncos are pretty much the best team at defending tight ends. And they're pretty much the best team against defending the pass. And I know DeMarcus Ware's out, like you said, bad back. I'm not even sure if he's playing or not playing this week. I haven't heard anything. And I know Aqib Talib is out in this game as well. He was suspended for a game.
Suspension.
For that eye gouge. But still, those linebackers are probably some of the best covered linebackers in the league. And Travis Kelce is going to have a hard time. They always try to throw quick passes to him to get him in the screen game going, but I just don't think with that defense and Alex Smith being pressured that they're still going to be able to do that. So I don't like Travis Kelce this week. Although he did get pretty good yardage the first time they played Denver. Most of that was due to Denver turnovers, and he was in their territory at the beginning of the game, so that can play in favor. But I still don't like Travis. I don't know that happening twice is not probably in the cards for them. So who's your defensive sits?
Seattle, Washington, and Detroit for all obvious reasons. But Seattle's probably the defense that you would never want to sit, but you probably should. Arizona's offense coming off a bye, I just think that they're going to be very prepared, like I said earlier. And I don't think Seattle's defense is going to be ready for it. I see this game either going three ways. It's very low scoring, and it's going to be a 10-9 struggle because it could possibly happen with the fans in Seattle, etc. Or it's going to be Seattle's going to be playing so far behind because Arizona's going to come out so hot that that they don't know what to do. Either or, in either case, in my opinion, I just think Seattle's defense is primed to give up points because they haven't played that well anyways. So I don't trust them. And the third way I was going to say is that it was just both teams were actually scoring, and that also hurt either defenses, but I doubt that.
Yeah, my three are the Bengals, the Dolphins, and the Vikings. And I'm talking about the Vikings. They've actually, I think they're like top 5 defense this year, at least top 10. I know that. And they're playing Oakland though, and Oakland's offense with Derek Carr has been phenomenal, especially at home. So look for Oakland to get it going. I think the Vikings, one of their main corners is out as well. So look for Crabtree and Cooper to capitalize on that. And Latavius Murray, not sure about him if he's playing this week, but they still have capable backups to run the ball. And in Marcel Reese, who also catches the ball out of the backfield. So look for Oakland to do some damage to the Vikings defense this week. All right, let's get into the sleepers. Who's your 3 sleepers of the week?
Kyle Rudolph, Ruben Randall, and Shane Vereen. And I'm going to talk about that Giants-Patriots game. Eli Manning and the Giants know how to beat the Patriots. No matter how prepared Bill is for the Giants, it seems like Coughlin is equally prepared for him as well. Historically, it's always happened. Even whenever they had the best team, obviously I'm talking about the 18-0 Patriots team, when they beat the Giants, they beat them, yes, but it was like 49-39 in the regular season. It was still a high-scoring game. And then obviously in the Super Bowl, the Giants came back and got their revenge and prevented them from having the perfect season. Now you add this element of Shane Vereen, the revenge game factor comes into play. And we've already seen it happen again this past week with DeMarco Murray against the Cowboys. It always seems like there's somebody from a team that was let go or signed elsewhere have a big game. Vereen is very much active in the offense. And now he's the one that knows all the secrets of the Patriots. I think he's going to be the one that they use to more so, hey, look, we're still here. We're the Giants. We know we beat you before in the Super Bowl twice. And by the way, here's your ex-guy that helped you win Super Bowls, taking it to you. So Shane Vereen is going to be my sleeper.
And my sleepers are Jeremy Langford at St. Louis, Marvin Jones versus Houston, and Nate Washington at Cincy. And I'll talk about Nate Washington. Lining up opposite DeAndre Hopkins has its advantages, and with teams now gearing up all over DeAndre Hopkins, Nate Washington has caught like 3 touchdowns, I believe, in the last couple or 3 games. He's starting to pick it up now due to the fact that teams are double and triple teaming DeAndre Hopkins. So look for that to continue as Cincinnati will rotate coverage over there a lot, most likely. And you're going to see Nate Washington getting a lot of opportunities, which he has been for the last like 2 or 3 weeks. All right, that does it for the Fantasy Football Show for Week 10. Like I said, next week, stay tuned. Next week, we'll definitely have a video. I'll be moving this weekend, like finally moving the whole place, the rest of my stuff this weekend. I'll be in the house by the 14th. The internet is actually coming on that day to the new house. So everything hopefully will, there won't be a live show. There won't be a live show this weekend, and there won't be a live show next weekend due to obviously I'm moving. So that's not happening. There won't be a live show. What is this, the 11th?
Congratulations.
Thanks. There won't be the 14th or the 21st won't have a live show because the 14th I'm moving. The 21st I'll be flying out of here to Florida. There's no way I can do a live show gone. If Siggy wants to do a live show, he's welcome to do so. So you can beg him on Twitter to do it if you want. I can send him the stuff and he can do everything he needs to do if he wants to do it for like a half an hour or an hour. That's about it. The week after that, like I said, on the what's the Tuesday of the 24th? Look for the video to be up either by Siggy or by me. I don't know who's going to do it, but it'll be up, but it'll be either Siggy on there or, like I said, both of us just with our picks and you won't see our faces. All right. So best of luck in this week in Week 10. Let's hope that Odell Beckham Jr. doesn't score 40-something points against the New England Patriots because I always have one bad sit of the week.
That's going to be it right there. It's going to be Odell
watch
Beckham.
it. We're going to be talking about it next week. Watch. I know it. All right. Best of luck to you guys. And don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section below. Ask us questions. For those of you, when you leave comments, please check it out on the bottom and make sure it says reply underneath it, because sometimes I feel like you don't realize that. I think you think I'm ignoring your questions, but you see that I'm answering everybody's questions, but all of a sudden you see me not answer yours. It's probably because I can't. And for some reason in YouTube now, you have to it has to be a reply to be able to even talk to you. So I can't, if you don't have that button there that says reply, I can't reply to you. All I can do is thumb it up or thumb it down, your comment. So chances are I hit the thumbs up. If you see a 1 on your thumbs up and it's a fantasy football question, you're like, why would somebody thumb that up? That's me telling you that I can't reply to your question. So I'm just letting people know that I can't reply. So either look on the top of the comments for your name and I try to at you, or I'm sorry. I mean, I can't do anything about it. Or try to hit me up on Twitter and ask me there. Tell me that you commented on YouTube and I didn't answer or something. I mean, I try to get to them the best way I can, but you know, I'm not gonna be able to answer everybody's question at every single second, but I try to get to them all at one time, you know, at certain times of the day. So I try my best. All right. So that's it, guys. Best of luck and take care. We out. Peace.